history of America that ignores white supremacy is a white supremacist history of America.
John Oliver is arguing that U.S. schools need to do a better job of teaching the nation's history. On Sunday's Last Week Tonight, Oliver showed clips from The View where Joy Behar incorrectly spoke about George Washington freeing his slaves during his lifetime, which actually wasn't done until much later, and Fox News' Tucker Carlson admonishing former President Barack Obama for speaking about abolishing the filibuster if necessary to expand voting rights.
What kind of person would do that?
Wait, what kind of person would honor a friend's legacy by continuing to advocate for voting rights? You know what? I can think of one. John Lewis would do that.
Oliver says that with so many people misunderstanding history, it's time to talk about how the history of race in America is currently taught in schools. First, he cited a CBS report showing that there are no national standards when it comes to teaching history, and that state standards all vary. He also argued that for those who think rewriting textbooks would get too political, the teaching of history has in fact always been political, pointing out that after the Civil War, one group, dubbed the United Daughters of the Confederacy, wanted librarians to label the books as being, quote, unjust to the South.
It'd be like a librarian writing unjust to Voldemort on Harry Potter's 1 through 7.
Oliver then showed a CBS News report citing a current Texas history book that reads, some U.S. settlers brought slaves to Texas to help work the fields and do chores.
Calling slave labor chores is a euphemism on par with calling Hitler a best-selling author with a side hustle or JFK's assassination a bad hair day.
Oliver also showed a report on how the teaching of slavery in one school was being done via Monopoly style, where the students had to escape slavery by using a, quote, freedom punch card, or they were asked to imagine that they were slave owners and set prices for their slaves.
And just imagine what it would feel like to be a black kid in that classroom. Or, if you don't have to imagine, remember.
Oliver said part of the problem may be that according to a survey, 79% of teachers in public schools were white in 2017 to 2018, and maybe passing on, quote, the same skewed version of history they grew up learning. Oliver then outlined what he said are 3 big mistakes that historians have argued need to be corrected in schools and beyond. First,
that we don't fully acknowledge the history of white supremacy in America, from its founding to the present day.
The second point being,
viewing American history's progress as if it was constantly and inevitably upward.
And the third,
we don't connect the dots to the present, and those dots are very much there.
To see the full segment on Last Week Tonight, head to THR.com. For the Hollywood Reporter News, I'm Neha Joy.